You're watching the 6:15 primetime newscast in the English language on Canal, the International. Thanks for joining us. My name is Gladys Sambudiman. Stay tuned for our headlines. Few days to the start of classes for the 2022-2023 academic year, the population of Douala is lamenting over the deplorable state of roads, which will provoke more traffic, with pupils and students who are expected to board bikes and taxis to school. They have urged the authorities that be to hasten the ongoing road rehabilitation projects. And still waits effective classes to begin on Monday, September 5. Education stakeholders in the southwest region of Cameroon have taken a firm commitment to ensure an effective back to school in the southwest region. They were speaking in Boya during the last preparatory meeting ahead of school resumption. And in economy, experts have cast doubt over Cameroon's attainment of the projected 2023 economic growth rate, which stands at 4.6%. They are blunt that Cameroon is not ready to raise the rates in 2023 due to its local production capacity, which still remains relatively low. Those were major stories. Stay tuned for developments.
Canal International.
Hello, thanks for joining us on the news on Canal International. We begin with the story from Douala. Inhabitants in some neighborhoods have decried the deplorable states of roads, especially as schools will resume in a few days' time. The roads users are exposed to risks of accidents, threats of floods, equally the order of the day, as we hear in this report by Stephanie Chin.
Roads reduced to small passages. Some parts have collapsed and formed deep trenches, which have now become drains. Roads characterized by potholes, vehicles and bikes risk colliding and falling into these holes as they cross by, a situation which has been decried by some road users this September 2 in Douala, especially as back to school is fast approaching. We took interest on roads within the neighborhood of Lokbaba and Carrefour Terminus in the city of Douala, which are begging for maintenance. Some parts of the road now death traps for humans.
The other day, we saw a bike inside there. Person fall inside there with the bike. So we don't know because of the bad road. So at any time, very soon, children will come and pass here. Will be passing here. There are so many vehicles and bikes on the way. So this road is very dangerous.
If you look at the gutter, they are very deep and it's very risky in the sense that when students would like to go to school, it's risky for them. It can also cause even accidents and so on.
Parents, road users and business persons plead on authorities in charge to do something about the deplorable state of these roads for the sake of security and for the smooth running of their businesses.
We have said that government to do her job to help us this road. In the time coming, this road will be broken in two. It will divide into two.
Despite the poor state of these roads, heavy-duty trucks and buses are still driven on the road, a situation which leaves inhabitants in fear.
And still back to school, education stakeholders in the southwest region of Cameroon have taken the firm commitment to ensure an effective back to school on September 5, 2022. And they were speaking in Boya during the last preparatory meeting ahead of school resumption. Southwest Governor Bernard Okala Bilal says schools in Lebialem must go operational this 2022-2023 academic year. Ines Ondonvala with more.
The 2022-2023 school year is around the corner. Southwest Governor says all school establishments in the Southwest region must open their doors for an effective academic year. Governor Benau Kaliabilai has called on civil servants and teachers who had abandoned their duties due to the crisis in the Bialem and Jan divisions of the Southwest region to go back to work immediately, as sanctions will be melted against those who jeopardize state authorities. He was speaking in Boya during the school year planning meeting.
For this year, that all the schools will open their doors in our region. And we are satisfied because the population, the stakeholder of education are responding positively. And when we have the population with us, we think that we can continue, we have the courage to continue.
Strategies have been put in place for all schools to open their doors in all nooks and crannies of the Bialem division in the Southwest region.
I was in Temtem zone, took part in a competition there, and I use it, football competition, I use it as a community to do campaign mobilization. And the people in such areas where people can come together and celebrate their other events are already ready for school. So our prayer is that if there's anything to be done, let's first of all convince the people on the ground, the indigents. Let they themselves take the initiative, for instance, to take part in clearing the schools. Clearing is already showing that they want something to happen. And that will be an opportunity to pass a message to anybody that wants to disturb them from sending their children to school.
School officials are revising methods to facilitate the teaching and learning process with an innovation on digitalization.
With following partnership that our ministry has with UNICEF and UNESCO, teachers have been trained. For the past 3 years, teachers go for training for, on how to help, children who, are low-spirited, children who, are disturbed because of what has happened. Our teachers are ready to give the children this psychosocial support. They've done it and they're still doing it.
All is set for the 2022-2023 school year in the Southwest region.
And parents with low self-esteem, having children with disabilities, as well as government's failure to provide more inclusive schools have been widely condemned by people living with disabilities. And as schools open their door for the new school year, this group of persons, through the association Isilaba, is advocating for more inclusive school in order to better the lives of these groups of persons. Morinji tells us more.
Blind at his adolescent age, Christian Kwesi is not relenting in advocating for persons with disabilities, especially those who are visually impaired. He is pressurizing governments to prioritize the education of persons with all forms of disability for effective inclusion of learners in mainstream education, as well as learning from successful school leaders in inclusive education. He adds this could only be possible through provision of braille and sign language support to learners with impairments in mainstream school, provision of resource room with didactic material and assistive devices, as well as facilitating structural modifications.
Each child have the right to go at school.
In a ceremony August 31 at the Douala Free Council aims at providing assistance to persons with disability and at the same time sensitizing parents on the need for them to send their visually impaired children to school. Experts highlighted the fact that Cameroon, for now, of just 68 inclusive schools with just 2 in Douala, a problem that exposes a limitation that comes with educating persons with disabilities.
Parents don't want that anyone knows they have a child with disability.
Lack of specialized facilities, trained teachers, and above all, parents who lose self-esteem of having children with disability, among many other challenges, were also discussed. As a means of encouraging physically challenged children, braille and other didactic material were handed to some of them. It should be noted, Cameroon counts close to 2 million persons with disability.
And police orphans in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, have received school material to prepare them for the new school year. The initiative by police women in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, is to boost the morals of these children who lost their parents while defending the nation. Haisenchia from Yaoundé.
Administering 1 tablet of 10 milligrams of albendazole tablet in the mouths of the children is to rid them of helminth parasites that breed worms. A parasite is an organism living in humans or animals' body that gets its food at the expense of the host. The holidays time the children enjoyed all in the name of food and drinks. Important to deworm them before they go back to school in order to stay healthy.
Consiste à rattraper tous les enfants qui n'ont pas reçu leur dose de déparasitage.
It is to catch up with all the children who haven't yet taken their worm medicine for at least 6 months. Children eat all types of things, fingers in their mouth and others. At times, children go back to school with stomach ache, and it is very important to deworm them before they go back to school.
Les déparasiter avant qu'ils ne reprennent l'école parce qu'il faut qu'ils aillent à l'école étant en santé.
Parents very happy with the deworming campaign launched for children.
On a pu vacciner nos enfants qui est au nombre de 5 enfants.
I have dewormed my 5 children of 1 to 5 years against stomach ache, which was made by health personnel.
After taking the first dose today, the children will be coming back next weekend for the second dose to complete their treatment.
That was rather a story with Omo Kusumi talking about the warming children before school resumption. Then we come back to our story on police orphans who have received school material ahead of school resumption. The initiative by police women is aimed at boosting the morals of these children who lost their parents while defending the nation. Once more, Haisenchia.
A smile on the faces of these police orphans as their hope for resuming school on Monday, September 5th is reassured. School bags, books and other didactic materials handed to them this Friday here at the National Advanced Police School in Yaoundé by the Policemen Women's Association, POA. This as a way of honoring the fallen police officers by giving a helping hand to their families.
L'éducation et la scolarisation de ces enfants devenus orphelins.
The education of these orphans is a big challenge for the families. So, it is important to mutualize our effort and help them. In the absence of their parents, they are now our children.
The traditional gesture, highly lauded by the over 2,200 beneficiaries, children from nursery to university levels, as that coming to lighten the burden in the struggling parents.
As our dad passed away, as our mom is alone, it's very hard for her to take care of both for us in the school. As I'm already going opposite, so she's already having financial needs for university. So I'm grateful for them for covering some of the expenses.
The ceremony to hand the school items were presided at here by the Minister of Social Affairs, Irene Pauline Guéné, who urged the needy children to make use of the equipments by focusing on their schoolwork and creating a better future for themselves.
And let's move from education to the economy to talk about economic experts who have cast doubts over Cameroon's attainment of the 2023 projected economic growth rate of 4.6%. They are blunt that Cameroon is not ready with the local production capacity that is relatively low. Have details in this report.
The Cameroon government hopes to increase the country's economic growth rate by 4.6% in 2023 by accelerating the import substitution policy through local production and transformation. Expectations which experts have raised doubts considering the current local production capacity.
If such forecast of 4.6% as the increase rate during the year 2023, we have absolutely to carry out huge work pertaining to agriculture. If we potato, let's say, what people here are consuming, and they have money to buy it.
We've been having some kind of crisis now that affect companies in the local area. The main one is the energetical crisis concerning the fuel, and you also know that we have very, very great matters concerning electricity. And I don't really understand how we are going to increase our production if we don't resolve those matters.
According to experts, corruption and administrative bottlenecks remains impediments to the achievements of the projected growth rate.
Talking about those rates, it's not that we can't reach them, but we don't really have all the required material to reach those rates. There's still more to do to plan those kind of rates locally, because not only the infrastructure. I've just talked about the energy. We are talking about the infrastructure. I'm talking also about the policy, and there's another matter: corruption.
The July 23, 2022 circular signed by the head of state also specifies that Cameroon's economic growth rate will also heavily depend on the facilitation of access to land, development of the transport sector, and digital economy.
And still in economy, the first phase of the livestock and fisheries development project, a macro component of the new development authority, has officially come to an end. The announcement was made in Bamenda on September 1, 2022, during the last steering committee meeting chaired by the vice president who sat in for the Minister of Livestock, Fisheries and Animal Husbandry, Stephanie Chin, with more on the story.
After 8 years of existence, the Livestock and Fisheries Development Project, LIFIDEP, of the Northwest Development Authority has come to an end. The closing sermon has been said on Thursday, September 1 in Bamenda by the Vice President of the Steering Committee, Governor Adolphe Lele-Lafrique, who has represented the Minister of Livestock. This has been during the 14th Steering Committee meeting.
None has been achieved without the collaboration of various stakeholders of the project, whom I hereby seize this opportunity to appreciate their work and encourage them not to relent their efforts.
The closing session has also been an opportunity for board members to begin groundworks for an imminent second phase. But during the transitional period, there will have to be minimum services to keep the concerned local communities alive.
The project management unit should take all necessary measures to ensure that all the project activities, especially the civil work, are completed before the closure of the project for the benefit of the population of the Northwest region. The execution agency, Midinoa, and the project management should accelerate action in the follow-up of the approval of the second phase of the FIDEP to ensure continuity in the project interventions. I will hereby encourage the project management unit to diligently implement this resolution and recommendations.
Though discussions held behind closed doors, the project can pound their chest of having worked to increase availability of livestock products in households in the Northwest region between 2014 and 2022.
And we had local dealers in products or cosmetic products that are profiting from the ban of bleaching or the sales of skin lightening and bleaching agents by the Minister of Public Health to actually cleanse the sector. With the putting in place of an association, that is an umbrella association, they want to gain the confidence of the government, the consumers, as well as the population at large. That was the focus of their consultation meeting in the nation's capital.
The ban on skin lightening and bleaching products are kind of eye-opener to the promoters of cosmetic products in the country. First, they've come up with an umbrella association to which all dealers in cosmetics are supposed to belong and adhere to, a census of all the actors imperative. This to enable them better function and operate effectively within the stipulated standards under the watchful eyes of Public Health Minister. And by so doing, bring back public confidence to local or citizen enterprises because there are some companies who want to outshine and not suffer the impact of the decision.
Dans cette décision-là, il y a des entreprises citoyennes qu'il faille ressortir, qui ne subissent pas, n'est-ce pas, les affres de cette décision.
The actors of the Association of Promoters of Cosmetic Products in Cameroon, known in the French acronym ANAPROC, are working to give back confidence to their customers and even help make the sector fertile ground, welcoming officially to foreign operators like investors, alongside all its advantages. The consultation by the actors in Yaoundé Friday holds in that light as order breeds success.
Before we wrap up this edition, let's have this short note on sports. The head coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, Rigobert Song, has published a list of 36 players that have been called up for the World Cup preparation matches against Uzbekistan and South Korea on the 19th and 27th of September 2022. A list made up of 9 new faces, and they include Simon Gapang of Olympique de Marseille and James Bienvenu of Coton Sport of Garoua amongst the 4 goalkeepers. Enzo Chacho, Omar Gonzalez, and Darling Yongwa at the defense, and Bina Fidel of Cape Town City at the midfield, and Brian Mbremo, Kamkel Zedidier, and Daniel Namaso are the newcomers and at the attack line. Amongst the 36 is the remarkable comeback of Nicolas Nkulu, George Manjek, and Christian Basogok, and the absence of Frank Zambo, Angisa, and Michel Ngade. That was all we could have for you for the sports story today. And it is with this note that we wrap up this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Canal International. The French edition will be yours at 7:50 p.m. with Alain Gisler Kanga. Up next is Dave Prief, the L'Actualité du Sport with Mark Chouamo. I will be yours again on Monday, same time, God's willing. Bye-bye.